First point, it is an ideal heat engine devised or manufactured by Sadiq Carnot. It operates on the reversible cycle. Okay, it is free from all imperfections like friction and heat loss, etc. It has following parts. First one, source maintained at T1 temperature, having infinite capacity of radiation of heat or supplying of heat, that is Q1. Then second one, sink maintained at T2 temperature and it has absorbing capacity, that is Q2. Source is known as HT, that is high temperature source, and sink is LT, that is low temperature sink. Third one, insulating stand to carry out adiabatic changes, and fourth one is the working substance. Okay, it is used to perform mechanical work. For example, in this Carnot's heat engine, since it is an ideal engine, he used ideal gas. Okay, actually it is theoretical engine. And the last one is the cylinder. Okay, and after that we have discussed working of Carnot cycle in the last lecture. After that, we have studied the PV, pressure volume relationship of the working substance in case of Carnot cycle. This is Carnot's cycle, or it is also called as indicator diagram. Okay, so after indicator diagram, we came to know that this A, B, C, D, and A, it means it is a reversible cycle of operation through which the working substance has been taken. Okay, so this is the simple definition of Carnot's cycle. And after that, we have discussed A to B, that is isothermal expansion process, B to C, that is adiabatic expansion process, then C to D, that is isothermal compression process, and D to A, that is adiabatic compression process. Okay, so you might be remembering all these things. And now we are interested in the calculation of efficiency of Carnot cycle. Okay, so to calculate efficiency in terms of output and input of the Carnot cycle. Okay, so here if you talk about input and output of the Carnot cycle, we should know the work done, that is W1 in the isothermal expansion, which is equal to W1 is equal to nRT1 log to the base E V2 upon V1, equation 1. Adiabatic expansion, second process, that is W2 is equal to nR divided by 1 minus gamma T1 minus T2. Okay. After that, isothermal compression, the third one, that is Q2 in terms of W3 is equal to nRT2 log to the base E V4 upon V3. Third equation. And the fourth one, W4, in case of adiabatic compression, W4 is equal to nR divided by 1 minus gamma T1 minus T2. Okay, so you have to remember all these four equations when you are calculating efficiency of Carnot cycle. Okay, and in the last lecture I have told you that efficiency is denoted by eta. So this efficiency is equal to output, okay, divided by input. So here if we take the ratio of work done, external mechanical work done as an output quantity, and the total amount of heat supplied by the source to the working substance to carry out the adiabatic changes. Okay, so this would be the input. So if we take the ratio of these two, output divided by input, we can calculate eta, that is efficiency of Carnot's engine, heat engine basically. So here heat engine is important. So as far as the efficiency of Carnot's heat engine is concerned, first point which arises in our mind is the total work done by the working substance in the Carnot cycle. Okay, that is work output. How much amount of work has been done by the Carnot cycle. Okay, so here actual work done by the working substance in the Carnot cycle. Okay, and thus we have defined that it is the reversible cycle of operation through which the working substance had been taken place. Okay, it is called as Carnot's cycle. So we have understood the working or the operation of Carnot's heat engine through this video. Okay, I had played this video in the last lecture. Now, first point, that is how to calculate W, that is total work done. Okay, so here W is equal to work done by the substance minus work done on the substance. Okay, note that work done minus work done, but work done by the substance and work done on the substance. Okay, so this by and on, these two are the important words of the work done. Okay, so here work done by the substance means total work done W is equal to W1 plus W2. Okay, can you tell me what is W1? Work done W1, that is equal to isothermal expansion. Okay, plus W2 is adiabatic expansion. So here in this bracket, in this first bracket, we have taken two work done regarding the expansion of the working substance. Okay, so minus in the another bracket W3 plus W4. So that is W3 is equal to isothermal compression and W4 is equal to adiabatic compression. So here, if you remember the Carnot cycle, this one, if you remember the Carnot cycle very well, then I have written over here Q in, okay, and Q out also. That is output and input. So according to the Carnot cycle or according to the indicator diagram, we can say that W2 is equal to W4. Okay, so if W2 is equal to W4, then we can rewrite the equation as W is equal to W1 minus W3 is equal to Q1 minus Q2. So total work done can be obtained in terms of difference of the isothermal compression and expansion of the working substance, or it can be obtained in terms of difference of energy, heat energy radiated by the source and heat energy absorbed by the sink. So this is the meaning of this W1, W3 and Q1, Q2 respectively. Okay, so Q stands for the amount of heat energy. If it is radiated or supplied by the source, it is Q1, and if you remember, source has infinite capacity to radiate the heat energy. Okay, and Q2 is the amount of heat absorbed by the sink. Okay, so these both, that is source and sink, both are having infinite capacity to radiate or supply and to absorb heat respectively. Okay, so in terms of work done by the substance, in terms of isothermal expansion and isothermal compression. Okay, so this is equation number 1. So total W, that is total work done, is equal to W1 minus W3. So we know very well what is W1. So here, according to equation number 1, W1 is equal to nRT1 log to the base E V2 divided by V1 minus the same, that is nRT2. Okay, work done is same, but temperature and the volume parameter changes. Okay, so nRT2 log to the base E V4 divided by, sorry, V3 divided by V4. But here, why I have written V3 divided by V4? Can you tell me the meaning of this one? Why I have reversed this ratio? In earlier case, in equation number 2, if you remember, I have written V4 divided by V3, but here I have written V3 divided by V4. Why this is? The answer lies in the indicator diagram. Okay, So here, according to diagram, we can write it as, now we can write it as, this is W1, this is W2, this is W3, and this is W4. Okay. So here in the calculation of eta, we have equated W2 and W4. Okay. So W2 and W4, if both are equal, it means this is adiabatic. W2 is the adiabatic expansion and W4 is the adiabatic compression. And now the meaning of this arrow is there. Arrow of W2 is opposite to the arrow of W4. The arrow, not only the arrow is indicating the direction of the work done by the working substance. Okay. So here from 2 to 3, volume of the working substance increases. Okay. So here from 2 to 3, we can observe adiabatic expansion, and on the other hand for W4, we can observe from 4 to 1 adiabatic compression. Okay. So these two courses are opposite to each other. That is, if it is according to Newton's law, if it is action, Newton's third law, if it is action, it is reaction. So here, that's why we have taken W2 is equal to W4 for our simplicity and to calculate the efficiency. Now here W1 and W3 still remains. Okay. So here we have written W1 as nRT1 log to the base E V2 upon V1. Okay. Now just remember, from 3 to 4 or from C to D, we are going to describe isothermal compression. Okay. That is W3. Now here the direction, in case of W1, the direction of working substance from A to B is there, and now the direction of working substance in W3, which is the isothermal compression, is there from 3 to 4. Now if we compare the directions or the work done on the substance and by the substance, okay, then this is opposite to this one. Okay. So if this is opposite, then here I have written Q2 is equal to W3 upon nRT2 log to the base V4 upon V3. But in case of calculation of eta, I have written it is V3 upon V4. Okay. Here I have written V3 upon V4 is because here we have to take the difference. Okay. Difference of work done by the substance and work done on the substance. Okay. If we take the difference only, then and then only we can able to calculate W, work done. If I have written it as V4 upon V3, then it would be the sum of these two. Okay. So to remain the mathematical operation of work done by the substance minus work done on the substance, I have to rewrite or modify W3 in such a way that this minus sign should be there. Okay. Therefore, I have changed the position of numerator and denominator. That is, I have written V3 divided by V4. Okay. And you know that this W1 is opposite to W3. Okay. So this is another meaning of this V4 upon V3 and V3 upon V4. Okay. So as we know very well that B and C lie on the same adiabatic. So where is adiabatic? B and C in case of indicator diagram, this B and this C. If you remember the indicator diagram or the adiabatics and isothermals diagram of the last chapter, that is heat and thermodynamics, you will come to know that these 2 points, that is B and C, lie along the same adiabatic. Okay. So I think this is the diagram. If you remember, these are the adiabatics and these are the isotherms. Okay. So here B is there and C is there. Therefore, I have written it as B and C lie on the same adiabatic. Therefore, T1 V2 raised to gamma minus 1. If you remember the adiabatic relations, then we can, for B and C, we can write as T1 V2 raised to gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V3 raised to gamma minus 1. This is first sub equation. Okay. Now, as A and D lie on the same adiabatic. Okay. So where is A? Here is A and here is D according to indicator diagram of the Carnot's cycle. Now A and D both are also lie along the same adiabatic. Therefore, T1 V1 raised to gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V4 raised to gamma minus 1. This is second sub equation. Now dividing first sub equation by second sub equation, we get V2 upon V1 is equal to V3 upon V4. This is third equation. So here T1 V2 raised to gamma minus 1 LHS of first sub equation is equal to LHS of second sub equation T1 V1 raised to gamma minus 1. Therefore, this is V2 and this is V1, that is V2 upon V1 is equal to, this is V3 T1 upon T2 upon T2 is equal to 1. Therefore, V3, this is V3 divided by V4. This is the next, that is third equation, that is V2 upon V1 is equal to V3 upon V4. Now, therefore, equation 2 becomes work output. Okay, where is equation 2? This is equation number 2. It becomes work output. Okay, so therefore nRT1 log to the base e V2 upon V1 is equal to nRT2 log to the base e V2 upon V1. Since V2 upon V1 according to third equation, V2 upon V1 is equal to V3 upon V4. Therefore, I can substitute V2 upon V1 instead of V4 or V3 upon V4. Okay. So here W, this W is equal to NR. I can take NR common. Okay. So NR T1 minus T2, inside the bracket NR T1 minus T2 log to the base E V2 upon V1. This is fourth equation. Okay, please wait for a moment. Okay, so here W is equal to NR T1 minus T2 log to the base E V2 upon V1. So we have arrived at equation number 4. Okay, so if it is equation number 4, this equation number 4 is equal to W. What is W? W is the work output or total work done. So if it is total work done, then we can write energy absorbed by the working substance is, okay, Q1 is equal to work input, which is equal to, in terms of W1, which is equal to nRT1 log to the base E V2 upon V1. This is equation number 5. That is the next step. Or we know this one, W1, the value of W1. Okay. Now things become easier. Therefore, the efficiency eta of Carnot's engine is the ratio of work output to work input. Okay. Earlier, I told you that output divided by input. This is the simple definition of efficiency, okay, of any engine. So here, if you modify the formula as work output to, it is the ratio of work output to work input. Okay. Therefore, eta, that is efficiency of Carnot's heat engine, is equal to work output divided by work input. Therefore, work output is this one, that is this W. Okay. So this is work output W divided by W1. This is work input. Okay. This is work input. Therefore, this W upon W1 is equal to, just rewrite the equations, that is W, that is equation number 4, this is okay. So nRT1 minus T2 log to the base E V2 upon V1, okay, in the numerator, divided by value of W1, that is nRT1 log to the base E V2 upon V1, okay. So here what remains is the eta is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by T1. So here this bracket, that is T1 minus T2 upon T1, it remains, okay, because in the numerator NR and in the denominator NR, okay, and log to the base E V2 upon V1 divided by log to the base E V2 upon V1, the ratio becomes 1, okay. Therefore what remains is T1 minus T2 divided by T1. So efficiency eta of the Carnot's heat engine is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by T1. In terms of work done, we can write it as W1 minus W3 upon W1. Okay, so this is efficiency of Carnot heat engine in terms of work done, that is W1 minus W3 upon W1, which is equal to, in terms of temperature, T1 minus T2 upon T1, okay. So we can rewrite efficiency eta as in terms of amount of heat radiated or supplied by the source to the sink, okay. So in terms of amount of heat, eta is equal to Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1, which is also equal to, in terms of temperature, T1 minus T2 divided by T1, okay. So here efficiency of Carnot cycle eta is equal to Q1 upon Q1 is equal to 1, or T1 upon T1 is equal to 1. Therefore this 1 minus Q2 upon Q1, okay, this 1, this is the ratio, Q upon, so Q1 upon Q1 is equal to 1. So what remains is Q2 upon Q1. Therefore 1 minus Q2 upon Q1 is equal to 1 minus T2 upon T1. This is equation number 6, and this is important step of the efficiency eta, okay. So eta is equal to 1 minus Q2 upon Q1 in terms of heat energy is equal to, or eta is equal to 1 minus T2 upon T1 in terms of temperature, okay. What is T1? T1 is the temperature of source, okay. T1 is the temperature of source. And what is T2? T2 is the temperature of sink, okay. And this is energy, that is heat energy absorbed by the sink, and Q1 is the heat energy radiated by the source, okay. So basically we got relationship of energy and temperature between the source and sink, and this source and sink, that is the relationship between source and sink, is responsible for work done on the substance and by the substance, okay. So here at the end of this topic of efficiency of Carnot's heat engine, we can write that for Carnot's engine to have 100% efficiency, okay, to have 100% efficiency, an MCQ may be asked, single MCQ can be asked in Carnot's heat engine about its efficiency. This T2 must be 0, okay. So T2 must be 0. T2 must be 0 means 1 minus, just imagine that eta is equal to 1 minus T2 must be 0 means this eta is equal to 1 minus 0 divided by T1, okay. So here 0 is the temperature of sink, that is T2 if equal to 0, that 0 is the temperature of sink, okay. But if temperature of a sink becomes zero, zero means we are talking about temperature in Kelvin. Okay, so just imagine that 0 Kelvin means how much degree Celsius? Minus 273 degrees Celsius. Okay, and therefore nature does not provide us with a reservoir at absolute zero temperature. Absolute zero temperature means absolute zero temperature means 0 Kelvin, which is equal to minus 273 degrees Celsius, which is impossible. And therefore, a heat engine with 100% efficiency is a practical impossibility. Okay, so these four sentences, okay, or four lines, these are important. Actually, two sentences are there. So these four lines are important for your two MCQs. Okay, Carnot's heat engine to have 100% efficiency, T2 must be zero, since nature does not provide us with a reservoir. That is, reservoir means source. Okay, at absolute zero temperature, a heat engine with 100% efficiency is a practical impossibility. Okay, so this is all about efficiency of Carnot's heat engine. Okay, the next cycle is there, Otto cycle, that we shall discuss in the next lecture. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me.